It is with extreme excitement that I introduce Mariana Acuna Acosta. Mariana, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for virtually joining us today in this new world we're living in. My name is Mariana Acuna Acosta. I am the Chief Product Officer and co-founder of Glassbox Technologies, where we create award-winning real-time virtual production software tools using game engines, virtual and augmented reality, and machine learning. We also offer consultancy services for real-time projects, including virtual production pipeline design, virtual stage design, engine consultation, and facial rigging workflows. We have offices in Germany, Australia, Taiwan, Mexico City, and our headquarters in Los Angeles. We started the company around 2016 as we were part of the Batch 1 Vive-X Accelerator program from HTC Vive, who were our initial investors. And it's been an incredible ride since then. And we're the proud makers of Live Client, which is our facial performance capture solution. It works with Faceware Technologies deep learning driven solver. Then we have Dragonfly, which is our cross-platform virtual camera solution, which makes becoming a virtual cinematographer easier than ever. And then we have Beehive, which is the equivalent of having a Google Docs for game engines and virtual production. And in research and development, we have Mayfly, which is our AI-assisted real-time keying and compositing solution. I want to thank Molly Levitt for putting together the AI Showbiz Summit and for the invite. Sorry, I'm going to be drinking some water while I talk because it's really hot here and I don't have air conditioning. So, from determining production cost to developing targeted marketing campaigns, content creators have more access now than they've ever had to real-time and AI-assisted tools, which were previously enjoyed mostly by major feature film studios. Cloud-based real-time production software is now an affordable reality for independent and smaller studio filmmakers. And of course, this includes recent advances in machine learning and other AI-assisted workflows. So what does this mean for the future of good quality visual content across all viewing platforms? Well, the media and entertainment industry is increasingly using real-time and machine learning technologies to reinvent how to streamline the overall creation process. Advances in game engines, plus the opportunities presented by artificial intelligence, are definitely changing the way a traditional visual effects pipeline works, which means that a lot of the labor-intensive, manual, boring processes can be automated, leaving artists, humans, what they're better at, which is to focus on the creative aspects. And what is also very exciting to us is the future of the creative possibilities that lay beyond. I mean, especially how storytelling is and has changed, all the new ways of creating content, the new narratives, and by having artificial intelligence and machine learning, like acting as creative partners, these technologies are definitely changing the way that content is being made and consumed and interacted with. So what does it look like to go from a traditional visual effects pipeline to a more real-time and more automated one thanks to artificial intelligence? Well, automation can definitely touch and has touched all aspects of a film pipeline. So if we start from the beginning, well, you have the pre-production process. One of your first steps is to get your script to go to the screen, right? Like you want to get your project approved. So there are several tools out there for quality prediction. Companies such as Synalytic and Scriptbook use data that gets fed through a machine learning process to determine box office performance and how successful a project can be, which means that AI can help streamline this process and assist studios in deciding which scripts get greenlit. And not only can these systems go through a much larger number of scripts, of course, per hour or per day, but script analysis can be also used for scheduling and budgeting. And it all starts with a human script And then the algorithm can put together a preliminary budget and a shooting schedule. And once you have all of that, well, of course, you're going to have to need storyboards. And some companies have also built in systems that can generate storyboards based on script analysis and even creating semi-automated animatics with props, environments, and like everything in between. So moving a little bit further down the pipe, then you would have location scouting, previs, and techvis, maybe postvis. And thanks to the immediacy of game engine technology and virtual reality, being able to visualize complex shots, start blocking animation, doing layout design, setting cameras, and start creating full worlds from scratch or from free assets or downloading free assets. This gives smaller studios and independent content creators the ability to plan more complex shoots and sequences when previously it would have not been cost effective at all. You can now even have gameplay-based cinematics where you can have your background characters or non-playable characters have like randomized behavior thanks to scriptable AI, thanks to the game engines themselves. And then predictive analytics are also used for analyzing trailers. Like Fox and Google Cloud developed a program called Merlin, which tries to identify patterns in audiences' preferences for different types of movies. And of course, right now, a data-driven approach shouldn't surprise anybody because it is used for mostly everything. And when it comes to the VFX pipeline, it is also used for anything from editing and visual prototyping. So once you're in production, we went from pre-production, now moving to production. Just as machine learning has really advanced facial animation, think Digital Domain and Avengers Infinity Wars with Thanos and his performance. Well, Digital Domain has been perfecting this since the days of the Curious Case of Benjamin Button. And just like that, well, the same is happening for most production workflows. Already there are, full studios in the cloud who are doing rendering, simulations, depth compositing, image processing, tracking, match moving, keying, because of course keying is still very labor intensive and hair is still quite a hassle, as you can see. It's still quite a hassle to remove manually. Denoising, rotoscoping, all of which can have machine learning enhanced workflows. So it can touch most, if not all, stages of production. And of course, since I just touched on facial animation, I have to mention deep fakes for full face replacements. Now, if you are using deep fakes safely and correctly, then you can have massive savings on your project, not to mention removing a lot of the painful, tedious work for artists. And then, of course, moving from there, depending at what stage you are in, and if you are doing motion capture, because you may not be doing motion capture, well, not only are suits becoming much more affordable, and it is now possible to have your living room become a volume where you can shoot virtual camera from your iPhone or from your iPad. But for example, there's a company called Radical that is making it super easy. Like the idea is to have talent record a video of themselves from their phones and then uploading it to the cloud. And then the company's AI is going to send you back motion captured animation and movements, which then, of course, you don't have to worry about, cleaning up the data or the in-betweens or all of that good stuff. Now, all of these technologies that I just mentioned, of course, will have a profound impact on the future possibilities of virtual humans and digital influencers, while at the same time, you may be able to not only create, say, like, your episodes of TV, maybe you're even doing like live broadcasts, whatever else, or your movie, but you may be able to start doing like a VR piece on the side, also helped by machine learning and deep learning and all of this, and be able to reuse assets and really then avoid all the waste that comes with a VFX pipeline. And then moving down the VFX and CG pipe, of course, we have to talk about character creation and what that entails, because it's the modeling, it's the rigging, etc. And there's another company where our good friends from Siva Dynamics, who specialize in character creation and human simulations. Think big sharks like the Meg. And what Siva's technology does is that it simulates the laws of real world physics and anatomy, and then they get CG characters to move, jiggle, flex in a very realistic way, which is a real time saver when it comes to character creation. Now, I was talking about pre-production, then I moved into production. And once you are in post-production, maybe the phrase "fix it in post" will be a lot more palatable when you have a helping hand, for example, on color grading, because with a machine learning approach, not only can you have a much more accurate approximation, but it can also do a way faster job when it comes to really painful changes in shots, like day for nights, things like that, or object removal, image and environment creation. Those can also become massively streamlined thanks to neural networks and image segmentation. And at some point, throughout all of this, you're obviously going to need a trailer. And if time and budget are a constraint, there are really good systems already out there that can analyze a ton of footage or even words, and then tag, cut, create medium shots, close-ups, establishing shots, all the shots you want, and even make decisions as to what are the best takes of your movie or your project, and then create not just one, but multiple versions of a trailer. For example, Morgan, the movie, was the first ever trailer created exclusively this way. And it was thanks to IBM Watson, which you can also use to create music for your projects and a whole bunch of other things. So if the ultimate outcome is to be more cost effective and efficient throughout all the different parts of the pipeline, from getting your project greenlit to the scheduling, budgeting, editorial, character creation, keying, rotoscoping, denoising, all of that, to then sound mixing, color grading, etc. If the idea is to be a lot more cost effective, the visual effects industry, it is definitely super ripe for the implementation of these technologies. Although one of the barriers would be, that you don't have much control, because most systems are a little bit of a black box, and of course, as studios set up these massive pipelines, and artists, well, you want to have as much control as possible. So, bigger studios may have a much more conservative approach. However, we at Glassbox do believe that the tide is changing, and there are a lot greater numbers of creators adopting cutting edge techniques that is definitely changing the way that content is being made, and therefore have removed the barriers to entry, which means that maybe it is no longer true that big funding is what generates the most creative ideas, right? I mean, we are seeing more than ever original, good quality content that has been made mainstream from teams that are outside of this typical big studio world. While at the same time, we feel like this pandemic that we're living in, and having to think outside the box, like super quickly, and figure things out really quickly, this may be the perfect opportunity for some smaller studios to test and explore how to best utilize all the available open source resources and tools that are out there. So besides being more productive and efficient, and thereby, of course, lowering costs, this is also a way to democratize visual effects and filmmaking tools, so that you could kind of fast track future creative possibilities and new narratives. And again, this would also create a diverse array of voices, not just a few. And if massive funding is no longer the deciding factor behind leading creative ideas and content, well, this is definitely an exciting opportunities for teams of all shapes and sizes. Now, I do believe that regardless of the use case, whether it's AI or machine learning or something in between, it is probably now in the background, giving us a much richer and more engaging experience. And it's also improving content creation and production, pre-production, and post-production processes. And in the future, we believe that if some studios refuse to adapt, they will probably not survive for long, because studios that have made the change, maybe even taking advantage again of this time that we're living in, they will definitely be more efficient and be able to bid at lower rates, and probably get content out faster, making the other studios that refuse to, or maybe were scared of changing, maybe not be as efficient, or even have to close down or something like that. I want to leave some. I don't know if there are a lot of questions. I will check on the Q&A right now. I guess one is for aliens. So let me see. I have one question. How do we reach out to you, the Space Tech Women Organizers? Mariana at glassboxtech.com. And the website is www.glassboxtech.com. Since I don't see any other questions, some of the tools.
We have other questions, Mariana, from different.
Okay.
Facebook, and we have multiple launch parties going. So I'll go ahead and ask. One is wanted to know how you had the idea to get into this type of business and where you see it going.
Well, I have been just a tech junkie my whole life since I was 7 years old, and I started playing Atari, and I was hooked from then on out. And I just really wanted to know how things were made, how graphics were made, how visual effects movies like Terminator and Alien and all of those movies were made, and that's what got me started into it. So I come from visual effects, but I also studied digital post-production and programming, 3D animation, and I really thought it was the future of content. And that's how I got into it. And then from visual effects, I moved into software, because again, I was really curious to see how it all worked. I had worked on set as a supervisor, set supervisor, then visual effects, then into software with the Foundry. And from then on out, I just saw that real-time technologies, game engines, and of course, just following places like ILM and Digital Domain and Weta, which of course Disney have the resources to really enhance machine learning workflows and what it was doing for motion capture and facial performance and all that. Just wanted me to be, do my own company and go this route. And where do I see it? I have the optimistic view and I have the pessimistic view. So I'm just going to stick to the optimistic view, which is that thanks to these technologies, there's so many amazing open source resources out there for free, and so many tools that are out there. Like, if anybody's interested, I have a whole list of different tools that can be used right here, right now, which means that, you may be able to do things that previously were only available to big studios with big budgets. So to me, the fact is, it's like democratizing content creation and the tools that are out there, so that you can, be more efficient, maybe, save your money to just for the artists and for the creative aspects of it. And then this makes it have more voices and more different types of content, because we are a very eclectic world and not all of us just want to watch Fast and Furious number 24.
Awesome. Mariana, thank you so much. I guess the final question, it's one that we've gotten for a lot of people. What advice do you have people for entrepreneurs out there that have an interest in going into this type of field that you are in?
I would say just read and really, if we're talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning specifically, just really know what you want to do, because it's very different to want to be a data scientist, or it's very different if you just want to, be the one kind of figuring out how neural networks work, or if you want to go the more like AI for business, for product management, to how to maybe cut costs and be more efficient and all that good stuff. So just read a lot, do a lot of research, talk to a lot of industry peers, and just decide which parts you want to really dive into, because it's very, there's a lot of it's a lot. So you have to decide, how do you want to apply that knowledge to best suit your needs, whether it's for your company or for your professional development.
Mariana, thank you so much for joining us today. That was really wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Molly. And thank you, everyone. Stay safe and sane.